Hi, welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk about getting the most out of your reading. I get asked this question a lot, and my usual go to answer is you don't have to do anything to prepare, just come and be ready to be open. So that's the short answer. And the long answer is um, that you can do some things to prepare, especially if it's your first time getting a session and you don't know what to expect. I will tell you what to expect, at least if you're getting a reading from me and generally most mediums out there. So, first and foremost, when you are getting a mediumship reading, it's really important to be in a place of healed grief as much as you can be to be ready for spirit communication. So, sometimes that takes people 2 weeks, sometimes it takes 6 months, sometimes it takes years. From my experience, spirit is always available and ready to connect really quickly after their passing, but it's about when you are ready as somebody coming to a session, when you are ready in your grief to engage in a conversation like that. So there's no right time. I've heard other mediums out there say about 6 months. That might be great for some people. It might be different for me, for you, but it's just good to kind of check in with yourself. And usually, people who come to me for a reading feel like they're ready and feel like it's time. Obviously, that's why they're there. So I always like to talk about the grief piece. That's an important one. Um, Also, it's really important to trust your medium. So I have had people come to a session very guarded and not knowing what to expect and really kind of having a barrier or a wall up for their reading. And that is so unfortunate for so many reasons. Mostly because you're not going to get the most that you can out of a reading if you have a wall up like that. I've heard it before, and I think it can be common for people coming to get a reading that they want to hear a certain specific thing. Like talk about the pair of sneakers. If you talk about the pair of sneakers, I know it's you in spirit. And while that sometimes happens where the speakers come up and the person that I'm giving the reading to tells me that was the thing I was asking them to say. And so it's great when that happens, but it doesn't always happen. Every medium reads differently. And so, what might be easy for me to interpret might not be the exact specific sign and symbol that you're looking for from your spirit person. So, it's good to keep that in mind. Um, Also, if you want to hear from a specific person, um, and you walk away maybe let down that the whole session wasn't about that person or that they didn't even come through at all. I know a lot of mediums always say, just be open to who comes. There's a reason, there's messages and communication for healing that needs to happen with that spirit person. So it's really important to be open to who's going to come through. And having said that, I personally think it's important for me to connect with the person that you want to connect with. So when I am giving a reading, I always check in and make sure that we are connecting with the people or the person that you want to. And I think if you're a working medium, that's just uh, nice to do and good practice. So, let's see. Oh, I was going to explain a little bit about the golden triangle of communication. It's something that we learn when we're developing in mediumship, and sometimes as sitters, that's the person receiving the reading. You don't always know about this, so I thought it could be helpful to explain, almost as if we're drawing a triangle. And so it's me, the medium, spirit, and then you, and it makes this triangle shape. So the energy with me and spirit, I need to do a good job of opening up and connecting and being ready to receive and energetically um, in the energy of the spirit world to give a good reading. And then you also connected in with your loved one and talking to them on the way to the reading and saying, I need you to show up. I want you to come, and just asking them to participate with us. So you to the spirit person. And then you, the sitter, and me need to have, and hopefully have good energy, open feeling, trust. That's the trust piece I talked about. Just, professional but open and ready to kind of dive in together because it's very much an interactive experience. So it only ever hurts the sitter or the person receiving the reading if they are shut down, if they are have a wall up, if they are ready to be disappointed. And I know that sounds surprising that somebody would pay money and come to a reading expecting to be disappointed, but sometimes that's the energy of a person. I've heard it time and time again from other mediums. I've had it happen a few times in my experience of doing readings for as long as I have. And so in that case, it's just not going to be a great fit. And I might recommend somebody else. And I try to always do my best to navigate a reading if the energy is like that and meet the needs of the person receiving the reading. And if I feel like I can't, I'll try to end the session early. Again, that hasn't happened much at all in my experience. Usually, spirits open, and the people who come to me are drawn to me for a reason or had a really good recommendation. So they already have that trust and excitement there, and the session just flows. So, um, maybe if you're booking a session with a medium and you feel like something's off or you feel like it might not be a good energetic match, that might be a sign for you to book with somebody else. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are plenty of mediums and plenty of wonderful mediums in the world. And word of mouth is really probably the best way that I get clients and people who come to me for a variety of reasons. Mostly, I'd say they tell me it's word of mouth. I have Google reviews on a public, Google. So they might read the reviews and feel drawn to me. Sometimes people say it's my picture. Sometimes it's my name. I've had people say they had a dream that their spirit person said to see Pearl or just told them the name. So that's really sweet too. But trust who you're drawn to because there's a reason. Spirit sometimes will have that nudge to go see somebody in particular, or you might just be drawn to them for a reason. Maybe you don't know why. But if you have a little bit of that energy of like um, resistance, maybe just check in and maybe that's not the person for you to see and keep looking around and reading reviews and asking people so you can find somebody that meshes with you and aligns with you energetically. So, um, other things that can help you get the most out of your reading would be um, recording the session or taking notes. So, I always encourage and welcome people to get out their phone and record the session or take notes because sometimes in the moment, the energy and the frequency of the room is different. It almost creates like a portal energy, and it can feel a little different. And we might not be receiving and absorbing all of the information because we're just taking it all in. It can be a lot. So I very much encourage recording, taking notes. I also think it's fabulous if people come with a friend and then they can kind of go off together and chat about the session and remind each other what was said. That can be fun as well. If you do a small group reading or prepare to have two people in a reading, that can be fun as well. But definitely recording the session is helpful. And I love that myself too when I have sessions with other people to be able to record it and listen back. I always pick up on things and hear things that I didn't actually hear in the session. So definitely want to do that. And I think that's the majority of the things that I wanted to talk about preparing for a reading. Um, Again, no pressure and just coming to a session and being open to the energy of the moment, to who might come through and what they might say. And if you're booking a session with a reputable medium and somebody who comes recommended is professional, somebody that you're drawn to, the session should be wonderful and a container of healing for you to have proof of heaven and that the spirit world exists and that the soul lives on. And also in a session, spirit loves to talk about things that are going on in your life, things that have happened, maybe answering questions that you might have, suggesting pathways, lighting up pathways that you might want to explore down and walk down in life. And so the best thing that a session can also do is confirm your own intuitions. So that's what I always tell people. I also do a lot of work to prepare for the session ahead of time before my clients get there so that it feels safe, it feels good. I know that I'm protected. I know that you're protected in the vessel that we're about to step into and have this sacred union of spirit communication. So I hope that that helps. If you're a practicing medium, if you're just somebody who loves to receive readings and explore your own intuitive knowings. These are helpful things so that you get the most out of a session when you book one with me or any other medium. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.